Hello there. Welcome back to the Right to Bear Farms podcast. It's Ed and Jerome here.
Hi,
Hello,
hi.
Jerome.
Hello.
Right. Yeah, and I believe we're going to do a conversation about communications issues and why Romania versus other locations for doing such an off-grid community. Is that it?
Why set up an off-grid community in Romania, right? And what are the implications of being here in Romania? So Ed over here has lived, I think, 22 years or at least more than 20 years in Romania.
2001 I moved here.
2001, so 23 already. Damn. Okay.
What do you want to know? Why I moved here? Or do you want to just ask me specific questions?
Yeah, I'll try to be more specific. It's not about why you moved here. I think it's more about why set up an off-grid community in Romania. Why is Romania a good place for this? That's more the reason.
Okay, so to phrase that question better, why is Romania a better place than other places?
Yes, pretty much.
Is that a better question?
I think so. Go ahead with that.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I'm not entirely sure it is. I couldn't possibly know that.
All right. I'm not kidding.
Right. So, and I'll tell you why I say that, because we're heading into a world where it's very unclear what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I chose in 2001 to move to Romania, and for the first time since I've been, well, first of all, moving here for me was a spectacularly successful decision. I mean, probably the best single decision I made in my life, changed my life for the better. Pretty sure I probably would have died by now if I'd been and stayed in England, just because I had no clue how unhealthy my lifestyle was in so many ways. Yeah, and it was a very good decision. But that said, for the first time since I've been here in the last few years, I'm starting to think maybe I won't be able to stay here the rest of my life. Now, I hope I'm wrong, and it would take a lot to uproot me from Romania, because I'm very settled here, very happy here. There's lots to love about the country, but we're in a politically tumultuous situation now, and anything could happen. So hopefully we're good here, but who knows, right? So I think anybody looking at moving from where so for example, if you're moving from a Western country like yourself or anyone else, particularly if you've got kids, a life, job, all this kind of stuff, it takes a lot to extricate yourself from all that stuff and just go somewhere else and set up. Now, you might have family and stuff and other connections where you were that you want to keep in contact with, you want to keep seeing them. So with current transport costs and methods, you've got to think about how far you move from where you are, right? So if you're, let's use our example, you're in Holland and I'm in Romania. Say you want to come and live here and do this thing here. Hopefully you do, by the way. Hopefully you
that's
come
the
over.
plan. Yeah.
Hopefully you do that, because there was one comment on my other channel actually that said that you would never come to Romania. I don't know if you saw that.
I think I saw it. Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you got to prove that guy wrong for starters.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Romania is good because it's close to where you are, right? There's loads of good stuff about it. We can list all that.
Sure, still
there's very little bad about it for what you want to do or what I wanted to do. But who knows what's going to happen in the future? I mean, there are a lot of bad-looking trends in Europe.
Like you just mentioned the tumultuous political situation. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean with that?
Yeah, I'd love to do that, but I'd like to keep the YouTube channel as well. So, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
Okay, so it's more people. Hopefully, people understand the thing.
People do understand.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say it pretty simply. I was under the impression that a nation, like the concept of a nation state, was like a republic or a limited democracy republic, or whatever kind of freedom-minded country you're part of, you live in, you're a citizen of. I believed in those actual structures, and I thought they worked pretty well.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, who wants to be a politician? Basically, nobody who wants to do anything productive. We'll just let the other guys do the political stuff and tolerate them being a bit of a pain in the ass, right? Clearly, that is a catastrophic decision to have made. We can't even replace our own populations, and the solution is bring people from fundamentally incompatible cultures and flood our countries with them. Right, a strategy that has a long history of catastrophic failure.
Yeah, true.
I'd love to talk about it, but you can just get on Twitter or any other social media or all over YouTube. Anybody who's actually a thinking person who can reason, they know all the arguments. They've heard it over and over and over again. So you get the idea.
Fair enough.
mean, I'd like to live in a free country where the government protects my property and protects me, and that's what I'm paying my taxes for. If the government is taking huge taxes, it can't protect me, it can't protect my property, it can't protect the country through the border control, and then it's expecting me to love it and be grateful. I'm either going to, I'm going to have to move somewhere else if it continues. You see what I mean? But at some point you can't move, And to be honest, I don't think Romania is going to go that way from what I see. I mean, I think Romania might still have a strong enough connection to the national religion and the culture and a reasonably recent enough experience of communism to know what the risks are here and what they're playing with. But
yeah, it's interesting.
We'll see.
It also means that the people have been very disconnected from what has been going on in the West, and I think only recently
I can tell you an example, because we can talk about immigration a little, right?
Sure.
In my country, there wasn't any discussion about whether immigration was a good idea or not, like mass immigration from the third world. It was just done.
Yeah.
And if you look at why it was done, the laws were changed. Nobody was asked. There was no referendum. The result has been, among other reasons, among other issues, a catastrophic collapse in our own birth rates. So like, it's our country, our people, things that you're not allowed to say, by the way. You're not allowed to, if you're a Westerner of a certain types of Westerners, that you're not allowed to make such claims. But all other cultures can make these claims that they're entitled to their own land.
I can make an argument that's like, say, is it directly linked with the lower birth rate of ethnically English people? Because that's a general trend in like the entirety of Europe, where the birth rates are getting lower and lower.
That's not one thing. But the idea that, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know why. This is why I struggle with talking about this stuff now. I've kind of given up trying to explain to people if they can't see what's right in front of them.
No, but I think it's.
But hang on, let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
So if you, through whatever reason, have managed to collapse your own birth rate, the solution to that would be doing lots of things to encourage people to reproduce, right? Not just going, let's just replace all the people we've completely failed with people from third world cultures who have no history of civilization like we do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, we want to keep the channel, so let's change the subject.
No, fair enough. But then, okay, that's, people get the view, and I think what makes Romania interesting you mentioned tax. So taxes in Romania are obviously lower, and if we make an off-grid community, then we would live here, and that is, of course, linked to the taxes you pay. I guess that's a very simple reason why Romania is a better place to be in than, like you briefly mentioned, a lot of Western countries right now, and also for the services it gives you. I know you've talked about the healthcare system in Romania being really good as well.
Did I didn't say that.
Not here, but privately. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Yeah. So, okay, just make a distinction there between private healthcare and state healthcare, and also depends on the issue.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if you've got some really complex, obscure issue, and this would apply anywhere really, but you need to have a plan, like how you're going to deal with something that you can't cover here.
Yeah.
But of course, most of those risks go out of the window when you're eating properly.
Yeah, well, obviously, you can prevent things.
I mean, I'd had no idea how much I'd done a disservice to my body just by living in England for such a long time and eating so much crap food.
Yeah.
I mean, people have no idea. It's literally stuff put in boxes and called food, where it's scientifically not. I mean, they shouldn't be able to use the term food for it. The same way you shouldn't be able to call honey unless it's come directly from bees. If you put sugar or something else in it, corn syrup or whatever they stick in it to make it to make more profit from it, that shouldn't be allowed to be called honey. And that's all these euphemisms and corruption of language we've got in the food industry is another catastrophe.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree. And it also kind of relates to them being the middleman between just the farmers and the consumers, and trying to make as much profit out of it without with keeping the cost low. But that's a different topic. What other reasons can you give me for saying that Romania is the best choice for starting an off-grid community?
Well,
you say you don't really know, but give me the reason you think why it would be a good contestant.
Well, you can't say any country is the best choice. That doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are good reasons to be in. There are many more reasons to be in Romania than not be in Romania.
Such as
you're looking to do this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, certainly in the more remote areas of Romania, you can get very cheap land, good quality land.
Yeah.
And if you can build a community with a small group of like-minded people like we're doing, very achievable. I mean, you're not going to have anything like the bother you'll have. I don't know. Let's talk about Portugal or Spain or some of these traditional locations.
Those are prime destinations. Yeah.
Okay, so those are two really good destinations, right?
Yeah.
I hear the same thing from other people there, and I challenge anybody to question this in the comments or come on here from these countries, because I can find people I know who've gone to those countries to try and do things, and they've had massive headaches with bureaucracy, with permits, with everything looks wonderful till you try and do something, and they hit all the same bullshit in the West, right? There are deals in Italy, for example, where you can buy these houses for nothing. Yeah. The problem is when you try and do something from them, you've got all these rules, all these endless rules, which make it really impractical. So it's a bit like getting EU funding for a project. It looks all very good till you realise all the hoops you jump through when you just wanted a bit of seed capital.
Yeah.
And the way to solve that would be allow people to freely set up things and educate people properly about business and scams. Then people could easily get funded by the local communities. But it's hard to set up those structures. People are educated in the wrong ways, so they can't tell the difference between a scam and something that's legit. They don't know what to look for. Things that I will just see in 5 minutes, people can be completely fooled by because they've not had the experience and haven't been educated, because the government wants people educated to be a bit sheep-like and dumb.
I mean, I can definitely attest.
I'm going to shut up now, because otherwise we will lose our channel.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let me just calmly attest in the sense that when I was studying still, and I did a bachelor in business, I did not have a course in avoiding to being scammed. That wasn't a course I've gotten. So there's some form of truth in that, for sure.
Yes, but the problem is, if I'm going to do it again. I'm sorry. If the government
I don't mind. It's your channel.
If the government wants to constantly scam you, and they're in charge of education, Do you think they're going to teach you how not to be scammed? Well, no. Shockingly.
Shockingly, right?
Who knew?
Yeah, who mentioned? Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so building pyramids are a big part for Romania.
We need to add that to the podcast list. How not to get scammed like a moron.
How not to get scammed like what? Like an idiot?
Like an idiot or a moron, yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think it's a good one. And again, it doesn't apply only to Romania. It applies to any country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but Romania's pretty good when it comes to getting scammed. I mean, it's a good place to get scammed. You can get scammed quite easily. I mean, just bear in mind the Romanians quite like scamming each other, so you can imagine what it's like as a foreigner, right?
I can see the comments seething
but
already.
the irony about that is when you have instead of what used to be a high trust culture, as we call them, like where what I grew up in, and apparently my father grew up in was even more high trust.
Yeah.
Romania is kind of not like that, and I don't want to be too mean, but it's not like that, you know. No. But at the same time, what's very interesting is this bizarre thing happens where the only way you can get a lot of things done is by having an absolutely tight network of people you really can trust.
Yeah.
And therefore, the people I have taken, my network that I've taken years building and maintaining, is full of people like that, and the most trusted people I've met in my life are Romanians. Now, bear in mind, I've been out here 20 plus years, but my closest allies and trustworthy people are Romanians.
Yeah. So you really built up a family, and that's really tight knit, and then the rest is just
it's just that you know that you need to have people around you can trust.
Yeah.
And like So this community for me is right. Okay, I want to maintain that. I like living here. I want to carry on with all the good stuff, but I want to basically have my cake and totally eat it as well by having a bunch of Westerners come here and collaborate with them on business. So I have the whole Romanian thing for the lifestyle, the beautiful country, whatever. But I have some people that I can make business with that don't make my head want to explode every day, you know. Because then it's very cool, you know, and maybe we can help some others learn some of these things.
Yeah,
you know?
Again, it's a very controversial stuff, but you already mentioned, you know, it really depends.
No, but I this isn't controversial. Romania, please, if Romanians are watching this, I encourage any Romanian to dispute anything I've said in the comments. And then I'll introduce you to some other Romanians that will gladly back me up on this stuff. So,
a lot of homework for the people in the comments at this point, actually.
Yeah, well, we've got to keep them engaged. That's sure. Engagement.
Sure.
The Romanian people I like very much. I mean, I like people in general. I enjoy meeting other people, chatting with other people, and I always take people at face value and give them a chance. But not for too long, you know. You have your chance to be honest and decent and civilized. Sure. And if you're going to waste my time or play silly games or take me for a fool, you know, we're going to be friends for a very short period of time.
Yeah, that's for anyone, you know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay. What else? What are other reasons? And or maybe we can look at the other place that you mentioned. Like you mentioned Spain and Portugal. Building pyramids are kind of a nightmare compared to Romania.
I mean, Spain is a good one because I'm working reasonably closely with someone who's coming from Spain.
Okay.
And he's complaining all the time about stuff there.
Yeah.
So, you know, just insanely burdensome paperwork, same kind of stuff that I had problems with here until I figured out how to solve it. Like, you know, just trying to get anything done requires a whole load of burdensome, I can't even say that, a whole load of pain in the ass paperwork that is too complex, completely unnecessary, and deeply annoying, right? Because if you're trying to do something, right, a proper business which involves real work, you know, something productive, make something, build something, sell something, add some real value. I don't mean one of these bullshit financialized businesses where you're selling fairy dust. I mean a real product, right?
Yeah.
And your day is like bang, 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 like all these things one after the other, and you've got everything working nicely. you have an interaction with the government, and like everything you're doing is something like that. It completely grinds to a halt.
Yeah, true.
Because of one thing that they. So why is it that and I'm paying them?
Mm-hmm. You're paying them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're paying them. Yeah. And this is what you get.
So yeah. So there you go. So sorry, I do get pissed off about this stuff.
Yeah, but it means you're serious. It means you're authentic,
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. But so I mean, I think just the thing about Romania is there is a bureaucracy here. It's better than it was. It's much better than it was in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
There are solutions for things, and you can get more done here realistically as a small-time business guy than you can in Spain or Portugal or these other Western European countries, right? You like, I'd like to say that that the healthcare may be the one thing that stands out as different. Like the healthcare in Western countries is better, but I'm not so good that I'm not so sure that's still true because I hear lots of horror stories.
Yeah, they do have.
I hear lots of horror stories about people just trying to get doctor's appointments.
Yeah,
and them insisting that they do it online or some other shit. I don't know what's true because there's also a lot of propaganda and counter propaganda all over the internet. So it's hard to know that the information I trust, which is another thing I love about doing this network. The information I trust is the anecdotal stuff I get from people that I feel are trustworthy, that I feel are speaking in good faith.
Yeah,
and
that first-hand experience.
That are pragmatic and calm and rational, and don't claim to have all the answers. They listen to you. You listen to them. I think that's how you get to the truth, really, of what's really going on.
Yeah, for sure. And well, speaking about healthcare too, then actually, because some other countries I was, for example, considering, and they're Northern European, that would be Scandinavia, so Sweden, Norway, Finland. Well, I mean, it's easy to say they have horrendously high taxes. So if you want to make some money, it's obviously not a very good choice to live there. But I mean, they're big countries. For example, Sweden also has cheap land you can find. It's a lot of forest. So you can definitely start some community there. You can definitely farm your own stuff there. And healthcare is, well, it's supposed to be top quality. But, it's a developed country. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the cities, just like most Western European countries.
So here's the problem for me, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why like I like the idea of Sweden, lots of love about Sweden. If I wasn't already here and I was your age and I was looking at Sweden, the only issue I'd have, apart from the obvious weather, I mean, maybe you like it cold. I prefer. I like the seasons here. And I like the weather here. But let's say you move to Sweden, I would have a deep problem with paying 1 penny to their government in tax because of the utter insane way their government is behaving, and I care about that. Like I'm not. I care more about my own country because I'm English, right? But they seem to be heading on a similar path to England. There's no logic to it. They're telling me to believe black is white and white is black and 2 + 2 = 5, and I'd rather just I'll just get out of the way and we'll see how this goes. And when your whole country implodes into civil war, then we can maybe talk about coming over when there's a recovery.
There's an argument to be made though. If you're looking to build a off-grid community, there's many different reasons for it, but at least you're trying to be self-sufficient. That's, I think, the entire point of living off-grid. So if you would live somewhere in the middle of Sweden, in the middle of nowhere, which would be far away from most of these problems that Sweden has, which, like I said, are mostly probably in the cities, you might be shielded from that to a degree. God knows how much. I'm I wouldn't be
Yeah,
sure.
so
Right.
so I'm sure you can be if you live out in the countryside,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Until they come for you in the countryside, which is what's happening in England, right?
Yeah. All these kind
So
of
in England,
regulations, you mean?
well, not only that,
Mm.
deliberate immigration of people from the third world into the countryside. Ireland is the best case. I follow a bunch of people in Ireland. It's the
Yeah.
best case to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no logic to it. Like Ireland's never colonized anywhere. They have a legitimate case for claiming that they were somehow um, um, uh, not marginalized. I can't think of the term for it. Somehow persecuted in the past, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The people, the same parties, the same political forces that were literally campaigning for decades on Ireland for the Irish
Yeah.
have now turned out to be Ireland for the third world.
Yeah.
And no one's been consulted, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
no one can say, oh, Ireland, you nasty colonizers, or you nasty imperialists.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little island with a bunch of Irish people on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking people and moving them into these beautiful, quaint little Irish villages.
Mm-hmm.
People from Africa. I mean, I don't know what to say. If you think that that's smart or somehow helpful,
Mm-hmm.
or you should be able to do that without consulting the indigenous Irish population, I'm sorry for you. You're nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
This I told you this would happen if you got me on these subjects. I can't.
No, but
I
it's
can't
fair,
help
right?
I can't help myself.
Yeah. No, but also again, I would love to hear counter arguments for that, but I don't have one. Yeah.
No, there are no counter arguments because
Yeah.
it's effing obvious.
Yeah. Pretty
You know,
much,
it's
yeah.
obvious. It's very obvious.
Mhm. Okay. Well,
And
maybe.
it's not only obvious. It's an old strategy. It's not a new strategy.
Oh, no, sure.
These things have all been done before in the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at South Africa and the state of South Africa.
Yeah.
That is the future of the Western world. If what's going on is not turned around and pushed back the other way, and I don't see how that happens. Because
yeah.
I talk to too many of my own countrymen that completely disagree with me and call me a racist, a xenophobe, all sorts of other names, and then can't back up any of their arguments with any kind of understanding of the past or history or any of the forces involved. It's like they have this religious belief that they can't, that you know, they believe these things, but when you ask them, the classic one is about Bitcoin, gold, silver, and fiat money. You know, people. It's amazing the amount of people who are into Keynesian economics who don't even know who Keynes was, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's what really, you know. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we should change the subject.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. No, yeah, you can look even more back. You can look to the Roman Empire and what happened to that, but I won't go into it. If you're interested, look it up, the fall of the Roman Empire and what came with it. But okay, sure. I guess these were maybe easy ones to say. Okay, Romania is better than Western European countries, but we also have, you know, the other side of the globe, or you could say that.
Yeah, here's a good point. If you want me to, because I'm talking to people all over the world.
Yeah.
Like anybody watching this, if you're still watching, 10 out of 10 for patience, because what are we doing, like an hour now or something? You've done well if you're still here. But I'm talking to many people who are having the same ideas we're having, that are out scouting other parts of the globe. I've got friends that live all over the world, and the basic consensus is if you think we're talking about a catastrophic global war type situation somewhere in the southern hemisphere, right? So South America, Asia somewhere, Russia. There's plenty of places in Russia that are very interesting. You know, just not in Europe or not in Europe. Basically, even in America, I think there are going to be places that are very safe in that situation. But South America seems to be the interesting place. I think Paraguay was somewhere that I was shown that looked very cool.
Yeah,
I've got quite a lot of information on that one. But for me, like I don't want to leave here. I like it here. I'm going to stick it out here. Like I enjoy living here. But you know, if they start busing thousands of Somalis to my village, I'm curious to see what Romanians would do actually if they did that. I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I hope we don't get to see the result though, but it would be interesting. But
yeah,
but
I'd move further into the hills.
Maybe
I'd just move into the hills where the bears are.
Yeah, you need to be prepared for other ways. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. I'm less concerned about bears than third world people. Bears don't kind of randomly knife you. They're more predictable.
Yeah. So as long as you know what you're doing. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But like I said, these might be the easy countries to kind of compare to and say, well, tax or their government or their situation, whatever. But like you said, if you're looking at the Southern Hemisphere, or you could say the global South, like we've been talking about the global North right now, so European countries only actually, and then you got the global South, which includes South America, but also China and Southeast Asia and all the other parts of the global South, which I can't all name right now. Like for example, I am also pretty interested in Thailand and Malaysia. Right, but I mean, you got a valid reason if you want to stay in Romania or in Europe.
I've got an English mate who I've known for I don't know 5 or 6 years, something like that. Who's I'd say he's got similar positions to me on pretty much everything, and when the whole COVID thing started, I was on the phone to him every few days trying to figure out what was going on because none of it made sense. And we've grown to be pretty good friends over the years. And he has an encyclopedic knowledge of Thailand and living in Thailand and that part of the world. He speaks some Indonesian and Thai, I believe. So he speaks a bit of the language. Okay. Okay. So basically. I think I might be able to get him on a podcast. I don't know, might be able to, but he loves that whole part of the world. If anybody wanted to move there, I mean, I'd like to visit that area, but I like Europe. I like my own people, really, Europeans.
Yeah.
Particularly Germans and Dutch and people that originate from the same cultures.
Like I'm 21, I'm still young, so maybe no, it's not maybe. I don't have the experience yet, right? Like I've heard stories from people when they got older, like I don't know. You can tell me what all this, right?
Honestly, if I was you, I'd be trying to set up I'm obviously going to try and sell you Romania because Romania is as good choice as any. But one thing you can do very well from Romania is have a base here. So, if you want to explore the rest of the world and look at other options, just make your base here and go and see other things. I'd like to do some more traveling. The problem is well, not a problem really, is I kind of finally found the thing I was looking for, which was some peace and stability and a nice, comfortable life. I'd like to go traveling, but need to make a bit more cash first.
Fair enough, but purely considering the countries like for having an off-grid community and perhaps also starting a family and just staying there for a more consistent, longer time. Like in my case, obviously, I am European, I'm Dutch, I'm very young, so maybe I'm not as connected to my country yet, or maybe I think I'm not as connected, because like I wanted to say, when people get older, they live in another country, maybe they start missing their own culture, or they didn't know how much they liked their own culture.
Here's an interesting thing, right? I don't feel connected to being what's called being English anymore, because the government in England has managed to make being English mean nothing. Right? Sorry?
I'm laughing, but that's a fair point. If most of the English people aren't really English.
So when I say I'm English, it doesn't mean anything, because what does that mean? Having a British passport, being from England.
So you're more trying to say like the old English that you were used to or what you were is not being It's not the same
No,
anymore.
they've completely redefined what it means to be English.
So you're clinging to something that's lost.
Let me make it simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all. It's just ridiculous what they've made it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I move to China, right, and I live in China, can I somehow claim to be Chinese?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how loud Chinese people would laugh at me if I tried to claim that?
Obviously, yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. So why is it that people from sub-Saharan Africa or Arabs can come to England and claim to be English?
Mm-hmm.
It's an insult to me. Like, it's not because I have a problem with Arabs or sub-Saharan Africans or whatever. It's just that, that's not what I am, and I'm proud of being English, and I'm proud of my culture and all the things we achieved.
Yeah.
And it should be something that's celebrated. It should be something we're taught to be proud of, but we're taught to hate it and everything about ourselves. And I'm sorry, but this is exactly what was done in endless communist regimes in the past, communist revolutions, was what was done to the Russians, done to the Chinese. Same old story. Destroy people's history, their culture, teach them to hate everything about themselves, destroy the family, and so on and so forth. And you've got me going again, and I can't even.
I started to learn how to push a button, so
yeah. So what was the actual question?
Yeah, no, more of like, because I think the purpose of this episode is kind of to give people some options or comparisons, right? Because we are choosing Romania, but there are other countries which are interesting, and kind of give them some insight to why would you choose Romania, or why would you choose a different country to set up your community, So and this was the specific thing about Southeast Asia. It's not Europe, obviously. So if you're maybe thinking, I'm not that connected to Europe, or maybe you're not from Europe, you're from the US or wherever else.
You'd have to go there and check it out.
Obviously,
I think it's like an absolutely fascinating, interesting place.
Yeah, I think so too.
Would I like to live there? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to travel there and stay there sometimes.
For me, it's actually pretty simple, because I don't think I could survive the weather there. Maybe I could if I would sit inside and air conditioner.
It all comes down to having a jet. You see, this is a problem.
A jet.
Private jets are because private jets are expensive.
I wish.
You can't travel on normal aeroplanes now, because they made what was a very stylish and beautiful industry and something that was a pleasure to travel on a horror show. It's the most, it's just really unpleasant flying on an aircraft now.
Yeah.
The whole thing from start to finish. But if you have a private jet,
that's a different story.
It's completely, but they're expensive. So we need to figure out how to make this thing a international brand, and monetize it properly. So we could then we can go to all these places on our jet.
That'd be an amazing
teach them how
goal.
to do this.
Yes. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. And that would actually, that's also part of the reason for me, because like you said, I think Romania still, it's a great country, and it's a great location for a base. And personally for me, I'm young, I have my options, so it might seem scary for other people that might be around my age to like commit to something like this. But again, these are our ambitions. We want to make this bigger and more global, and also you can still travel. We're in Arges country, if I say correctly.
Arges
country. So
Arges county. Well, I am. You're not, are you?
Okay, sure. I was there, and I want to go there. So it's not too far away from Bucharest.
Well, get a move on then.
I know. Money thing, yeah. So I'm also young, so that means I don't have a lot of money at the moment. But that is less of a problem than, let's say, starting in Norway or somewhere here in the Netherlands. So we're working on it. But yeah, like it's good to consider that, I think. And like you said, just visit the countries and see what suits for you. But yeah, I think that covers pretty much of why you chose Romania and why you think it's a good place to start an off-grid community. Think anything else that we missed or you would like to cover?
How long are we on time-wise at the moment?
I'm not sure. I started another recording, but I think about an hour.
an hour. I think it's good enough. So things I'll say is, if you've made it to this point in the recording, 10 out of 10 for patience.
Yeah.
You'll do well in
Or
Romania.
maybe they just did it in 20 minutes each, 10 minutes.
Yeah, you could put it into episode 1 too. But anyway, 10 out of 10 for your patience, and that will serve you well doing anything in Eastern Europe, because that's something you will need is patience. But I would encourage people, if they like this idea, to get over here and meet up. Come on our podcast. We'll happily meet you, and or you can, or come on Discord, and we can have a or whatever you like, Zoom, whatever we have the technology to communicate with you. Whatever platform you're on, and we can do a discussion with you directly. And I'd love to hear from more people. Like, I get emails and I get voicemails and people on WhatsApp and stuff, but sadly, very few people want to do live video. You know, it's almost scared. It's almost like they're scared about talking about what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Who knew?
You need to step up. Yeah. It's if you don't do it, who's going to do it? You know. But
so we've got a website that is up and running now, but it's still a work in progress. So I'm not going to. I don't want to publish that. But if you'd like to take a look at it and you're interested in what we're doing, just reach out in the comments on this video. And once you're in contact with us directly, I can show you the beta version of the site, and you can see more what we're up to. If you want to know more about the community and the structure of it, how it's going to work, anything you'd like to know, our whole plan is just to be completely transparent about everything. You know, and like, if things are going well or not so well, what things are working, what things are not working. We're not going to gloss it up. We're not going to pretend to do things we can't. It's all going to be, you know, down to earth and rational. There's too much garbage like that on YouTube of people claiming all sorts of stuff they can't deliver. And I'd rather keep it rational and honest. Okay, so are we done?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you again soon at the next podcast. When are we doing next one? Like every week, we want to do one at least, or every few days, I suppose.
I think it's best not to put any dates on that, but
No.
Yeah, just stay in touch, stay updated. Just take a channel once in a while, but weekly, definitely, at least. Yeah.
Okay, cool, good stuff then.
Cool. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.